Hi Sagittarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your April 2021 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always, and I also pulled an Oracle card and a Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to see where your focus will be this month as far as the astrology goes. So let's see what we get. Okay. So we have 10, so that's your 10th house, which for you guys is Virgo, and 10th house represents career social status. We have Taurus, which is actually your 6th house of work, day-to-day routine, so there's definitely going to be some kind of focus on work for you guys this month. And then we have Venus. So Venus is going to be thinking Aries for at least part of April, and then I think it's going to eventually move into Taurus. So we'll keep that in mind as we go through the spread. All right, so starting with the main situation, we have the Three of Swords. So this is actually Libra energy here, and of course that represents, usually people tend to think of love relationships just because of the artwork, but for you guys, Libra is your 11th house, so this could be disappointments around not just relationships, but possibly maybe a group you were dealing with, some kind of hopes or wishes you might have had, maybe just a friendship. But it definitely looks like there's some disappointment that you guys are experiencing. For some of you, this might have even been around something that came with the Libra full moon. At the time of recording this, we haven't had that yet, but given that this is a reading for April, could just be pointing to that. So for those of you who watch it before we have that full moon, definitely keep an eye out for that. In the challenge or obstacle position, we have the Emperor. So this is actually Aries energy, which for you guys is your 5th house, so romance, creativity, children. So to see this come up in the challenge position could just be saying that part of the disappointment was that maybe there was a clash of egos in a situation where, whoever you were dealing with didn't want to necessarily budge. Maybe this for some of you as well was maybe this was someone you've been friends with and you were trying to take it to another level, maybe take it to a more romantic direction, and maybe that wasn't actually working out for you guys. But another thing, this could just be saying that it might take for the majority of the Aries season for you guys to actually get over this heartbreak. So that's another way the energy could be playing out as well. In the foundation position, we have, we have the 7 of Cups. So this is actually Scorpio energy, which for you guys is your 12th house. So this could just be saying that you might have been going through a lot of confusion, and now that this is showing up in the reverse in your spread, it could just be saying that you're coming out of that. And in a way that would make sense too, as far as when we had that Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, that was in your 3rd house of communication. So for some of you, there could have been some misunderstandings and miscommunications during that period, and now with the Mercury finally clearing its shadow phase from that retrograde energy, now you could actually be seeing things a lot more clearly. So that could be what part of processing that disappointment is as well. In the past position, we have the Strength card. So this is actually the Major Arcana card for Leo. So for some of you, this might even be something that goes back that far, to when we had that Leo full moon during Aquarius season. There could have been a situation that might have gone off the rails back then. But more than anything, I feel like this is saying for the majority of you, this might have represented that you guys were biting your tongue around a certain situation, where maybe you might have had a desire to speak out, or maybe part of you, you realized that you weren't seeing the situation clearly, or at least you suspected that, so you might have held back on saying what you wanted to say at that time. All right, in the present position, we have the 5 of Wands, so more Leo energy here. And of course, this doesn't look like you're holding back here. It looks like there could definitely be some conflict going on. Now, for you guys, Leo is your 9th house, so, could be around anything, but, obviously just given that we do see a group there, it could be a conflict that you have in whatever's in your friendship group on how to go about doing things. Maybe you You guys are all struggling to see things from a higher perspective. Like we said with the Emperor energy and the challenge position, could just be saying that, people might be digging their feet in and insisting on doing it their way. So that could be what the conflict is about. In the near future position, we have the King of Cups. So this is actually the court card for Scorpio. So again, we see that 12th house influence there. So it could just be saying that for some of you, again, there could be a bit of a lack of clarity, but you could just be trying to rely on your intuition to figure out what's going on, because maybe when you do actually try to communicate with the other parties involved, it might just turn into instant conflict. So you could just be withdrawn a bit to try to figure out what exactly is going on that's causing this, So maybe that's still a bit of a mystery for you guys. So with that Seven of Cups and the Foundation in reverse, could just be saying that you'll get there to the clarity, but you might not be there currently, So this could just be you guys actually trying to process that and figure out, okay, why are we still running into this conflict in the situation? The position of your influence in the situation. We have the Star, which is Aquarius energy, your third house communication. We have Justice, which is Libra, which is for you guys your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. And the Eight of Cups, which is Pisces energy, which for you guys is your 4th house, home, family, your roots, basically. So I will say that whatever this conflict is around, it looks like you guys are actually seeing the situation from a good perspective. Because to me, the Star is the card that comes after the Tower. So for some of you, this Three of Swords we see here might have been a Tower moment for you guys, whatever it was. But with the Star card, usually to me, that represents like a course correction where you're on the right path. You're seeing things more clearly. And with the Justice card there, this is another indicator, right, that you're trying to approach things from a balanced and measured perspective. And with the Eight of Cups, for some of you, this could just be saying that you might decide to walk away if you're finding that, the other side is just determined to get into conflicts. Part of that growth for you guys could be like, all right, well, you know what? This isn't going to go anywhere, right? I'm just going to walk away from the situation. But for others of you, this could also represent that maybe you're getting some clarity now, like I was saying, for those of you where maybe there were some misunderstandings, given that you did have that Mercury retrograde in your third house communication. And due to that clarity that you're gaining there's a desire to restore the balance and to basically put the conflict behind you. So for some of you, that's you walking behind the conflict in a positive way, saying that, you're actually making amends. For others of you, could just be saying that you're leaving the situation altogether if the other side is determined to continue with the conflict, basically. So I could see that going either way, depending on the other person, of course. In the environment position, we have the Ace of Wands. So for some of you, could go either way again, right? Where, like I said, maybe this is you wanting to have that fresh start within a connection if there was some misunderstandings and conflicts. And for others of you, this is just saying that you just want a fresh start altogether and you want to leave the connection behind. And like I said, I feel like for the majority of you, that's more going to depend on how the other person is approaching it. To where if they're willing to work with you, right, and actually both grow from the experience, it looks like you'd be good to continue forward. Whereas if you feel like they're just, setting up to dig in for more conflict, I feel like most of you are just going to leave it behind. So that's why I see there. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Fool. So I'm going to guess for the majority of you, this probably is a hope more than a fear. But again, like I said, it points back to what I was seeing here too, which is to say you're looking for a fresh start either way, whether it's with this person, if you guys can work things out, clear things up, or like I said, maybe for some of you it's just a whole group of people. But you're like, all right, if we could clear it up, make amends, I'm good, we'll move forward. If not, then okay, I'm just gonna, if they're determined to keep repeating these conflicts, I'm gonna leave it behind altogether. So that's why I see there. And in the outcome position, we have the 10 of Pentacles. So this is Virgo energy. So for some of you, this can be, again, going back to, especially given that we did have the 10th house energy and also Taurus energy, which for you guys is another house that points to your work and daily routines. This could just be saying that if this is around a work environment, you guys might actually get things worked out and the stability could be restored within that situation, and you could get the forward progress in that regard, which obviously would be a positive thing. If I was you, this could just be saying that you might be shifting your focus to your work and finances, right? Because if friendships are causing some kinds of hassles where you're just like, okay, I can't deal with people right now, you might just withdraw and strictly focus on your work. Um, but for the majority of you, either way this plays out, I feel like this is pointing more to a feeling of stability being restored and at least some level of success. So it looks like this situation can be worked out, at least in your favor, if not in the other side's favor, if they don't want to cooperate. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Wands, which is actually a Sagittarius energy. So whatever this was, it looks like it could have been, you guys were starting to feel burdened. So, just a generic example, given that we did have to work energy into dice. Maybe it was a situation where you felt like you were putting in way more work than the other people that you were collaborating with in a group setting, right? You might have called them out on it. And then, depending on how that went, right? If they decided to, all right, well, let's work together, we'll step up, right? That's one thing. If not, you might decide to just look elsewhere, but that's what I see there. All right. And moving on to your Oracle card now. We have Breathed. There's the artwork, and the number is 29. So we'll see what this has to say. But this kind of looks like what I was pointing up to with the energy showing up for you guys and your influence, which is to say, it looks like you guys are, taking the mature approach and really looking at the situation in the right way. But we'll see what it says. All right, right to the page. It says patience, waiting, going slowly, wellness, meditation, trust. The Oracle's message: patience in all things is called for right now. What do you need to do when you're in a rush? Slow down, of course. Meditate and trust. Breathe and repeat. Humans cannot exist without drawing breath. Now is the time to allow the life-giving element of air to replenish your body, your being, and your very essence. Stop to smell the roses, breathe in the sunlight, and release the darkness, and miracles will appear. So an interesting message there. And, for some of you, it could just be, maybe that's what it's pointing to. Maybe this does represent for at least a small percentage of you where there could be some impatience, where you're really trying to rush things ahead. And that could be what that's pointing to there with that Scorpio energy saying, just try to take your time, feel it out and try not to rush ahead. Maybe with the energy moving in Aries, it has you guys feeling supercharged in a way. The relationship message says, don't be in too much of a hurry right now. The heart needs time to open. Take a breath and let nature take its course. Release constriction and anxiety, for there is no need for tension. Savor the moment, and the waiting won't prove difficult. Your heart knows what the ego often resists learning. Patience pays off in deep and meaningful ways. So an interesting message there. And for some of you, like I said, given that this is the card that comes after the Tower, for some of you, maybe that Three of Swords does represent that there was some kind of a heartbreak there. So if that's the case, it could just be saying to try to pace yourselves and, you can't have that fresh start. The prosperity message says you have worked long and hard, your dreams are coming to fruition, and you want to hurry things along. You are the slow one moving languidly, yet still progressing right now in a rhythm dictated by your authentic nature, the essence of your dream, and the will of the universe. Slow and steady wins this race. You will indeed win if you relax, stay the course, trust your intuition, and breathe. So an interesting message there. So again, like I said, I was seeing it that you guys are really approaching the situation from the right perspective. But for some of you, maybe you're not just there quite yet. And that could be where that Three of Swords energy comes from. And then that could just be saying that actually is what ends up being a course correction for you guys, to where you do say, all right, well, let me just pace myself and let things grow in a more natural, organic way. So hopefully that resonated with you. And then lastly, we have a Mudra card. So the Mudra you guys got for this month is the Ashvaratna Mudra. And the keyword for it is perspective. All right. So let's see if I can get it to focus. All right, there we go. And I'll just back it up. Alright, so yeah, if you want to pause or take a screenshot, you can. But under benefits, it says balances earth, water, and fire elements, benefiting digestion, circulation, and overall vitality, cuts through ego clinging and narrow-mindedness, gives new perspectives on your choices and life's path. So if that sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you guys, we'll put the name of the mudra in the description video. As always, we'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.